It's time, fight fans and degenerate gamblers. Welcome to the Thick Boys Fight Club, where there are only two rules. Rule number one, always talk about Thick Boys Fight Club. Rule number two, talk about Thick Boys Fight Club even if no one wants to talk about Thick Boys Fight Club.
All right. We are back, baby.
To the
I'm
Thick
Nick.
Boys. Yep, and I'm Ty. And we got the Thick Boys Fight Club. And really quick, we're just going to jump right into this again. Guys, remember, we got that drawing coming up for either a Stipe Miocic or a Daniel Cormier t-shirt.
Stipe.
Look, I've been on DC's nut since day one. That's my boy right there. And so what happens is you just got to subscribe, and every time, so if you subscribe, we're going to enter you into the raffle, and every time you like and comment, we will additionally enter you into the raffle again, increasing your odds to win. We're going to do the drawing on the 10th, that Monday, and then we're going to, hit up the winner, get their shirt size, find out who they want, and then we're going to priority mail that out so you can wear it on the night for the baddest dude on the fucking planet, and you're going to have your shirt that you love.
Yeah, did you see the hype video they released yesterday?
No, I saw someone's hype picture, though. It was that one
it
where
was
Daniel Cormier is
sick.
all fat at the beach, and then Stipe's wearing, like, jorts and a fucking American crop top or something. It was
Oh, my God.
It says the two baddest dudes on the planet. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they released a little hype video during the fight yesterday, and it got me pumped up. So I'm super stoked for that one, as always. The UFC does it once again.
Yep.
But, yeah, guys. Let's go over a little news real quick. There was a lot of crazy shit happening yesterday before the fight card. We'll get into that. First off, though, I know Ty wanted to break down some news about Darren Till last night.
Oh, yeah. Darren Till posted something. I believe it was on Twitter. He talked about banning knee stomps. What he means by that is when the fighter, generally it's a side kick. They'll side kick into the opponent's lead leg and trying to hyperflex their knee backwards. What he's trying to say here is this causes a lot of unnecessary injuries. A lot of times guys will tear their ACL, their PCL, their MCL. They'll just tear something in their knee, and it's a very long recovery period. And given that we know in all sports, the knee is such a huge thing to all athletes, it's like, do we really want to see some of these fighters in their prime shelf for like at least 6 to 9 months just recovering from an injury that probably could have been avoided? And really, I get it. If you manage to hit it and you tear one of the muscles in your opponent's knees, you're giving yourself such a huge advantage in the fight. Even though we as the viewers, we don't know. The only person who knows that it's actually happened is the person who's receiving it. And it affects their whole fight game. So it's just kind of one of those things. It is a very effective technique, but Darren Till is saying that, for just the longevity of the careers of the fighters, that we should ban it. And I'm with him on this one.
So, in your opinion, then, you feel like that is more detrimental than, for, say, someone cranking down an arm bar?
Yeah, because usually when you hyperflex your elbow, like when you get into an arm bar, I've had it happen to me several times.
Okay.
You can still fight with it, right? You can still go to practice. It is going to be more prone to injury, and being hyperflexed, again, it's not going to be as strong if you don't rest it. When I did it the first time, I remember I hyperflexed my elbow, went back to jiu-jitsu, I think 2 weeks later, and it happened a lot faster. Got caught again by another guy, caught me an arm bar, and I just didn't have that same kind of strength to keep it locked. And I thought, I got caught. I thought it would be fine and let it, and it just popped again. And it's something that you do have to let recover, but it's not nearly as serious as, like, again, like when we watch football all the time. When you hear someone tears their ACL, you're like, season's over.
Yeah,
guys,
sure.
I'm not going to see him until next year. It's like, we don't want that to happen to fighters. We're lucky if we get them to fight 3 times in a year. Now you're talking about, like, he had one fight, he probably lost.
Yeah.
And then we got to wait 9 months just for him to get cleared to fight again.
Yeah.
And that's not really what – I don't want to see that. I want to see them fight as often as possible.
For sure. No, I agree, too. I'm just saying, it's like, at the same time, I want to try to remember this is fighting and this is the UFC, and bad shit just happens sometimes.
Yeah, the only one I would say that would be the heel hooks you have to be worried about is those can, if a guy hangs onto a heel hook for a long period of time.
Sorry
like
about
we
the
saw
cat there,
folks.
Yeah.
If you, like, Husamar Palar is holding on and cranking that, because, again, that can shred multiple muscles in the knee and That's would be probably one of the only submissions you really got to worry about holding or cranking on too long.
Got it. All right. Well, yeah, guys, we got that going for us. Last night, man, there was some weird things going on before this fight card started. I don't know what. Some of it was something in the air. I had hit up Ty on Friday. They had added, actually, their plan was to add a fifth fight, or a sixth fight, to the fight card real quick with a match with Meshert
and Ed Herman.
Yeah. Now, that one was called off because Meshert actually did test positive for COVID. So, understandably, that's why. So, before the fight card even began to start, we were bumped back down to a 5 card, which is what we had given you guys picks on Wednesday night. Then, my God, before the fight even starts, the bout between Gillis and Holland had to be called off due to the fact that I don't know, Gillis they think Gillis just had nerves and was a little too pumped up maybe. Walking to the spot where you begin to walk out from, he passes out. Woke back up. Doctor said he wanted to fight, but doctors, of course, were like, there is absolutely no way we're letting you fight here.
Yeah, could be something more serious.
And then later on, after poor Calderwood's fight, she passes out in the back and had to be transported to the hospital after her fight. I don't know what was going on with that whole scenario, but we'll break down that one a little bit later for you guys. But yeah, so we had a lot of passing out. I don't know if maybe it's a little hot in Vegas. Maybe their air conditioning system's not working too well in the Apex Center. Not too sure what's going on. Or
these weight cutting issues. That's what we have to remember is weight cutting if they've rehydrated properly.
And if that is the case, I would like to say, once again, I called it with saying Calderwood took this fight on short notice. The weight cutting issue is going to be there. So, definitely could have played into it. Also, guys, I actually am a little disappointed about this. We picked Derek Brunson for the pick, and to not give that guy the $50K bonus, I can't believe that. That shows me that, once again, love Dana White and everything, but my God, when he has favorites, that man has favorites. And Derek Brunson is obviously not on the list of the UFC fighters. There was a lot of hype behind that kid. A lot of hype behind Shahbazyan. Obviously, the UFC wanted him to be next. Ronda Rousey's boy. It just didn't play out the way the UFC wanted it. It happened.
Derek Brunson played the heel to a key, man.
Which we'll break that one down. I just wanted to bring that out in the news. A little bummed about him not getting that bonus, but it is what it is. Also, Dana White confirmed that, the canceled bouts will not be receiving their show money as normal either. He said he's going to pay them something, but normally as a fighter jumps on the scale and whatnot, he'll usually always pay them the show money when the fight didn't go on. But to those canceled bouts, he's talking about not even paying them that. What he's going to pay them we're not really sure. I'm sure we'll find out in the following days.
Yeah, I don't it's not their fault that their opponent, or even in the case of Giles, it's not his fault. Like, he passed out. I hate to say it. It's like, you signed them up. They showed up. You got to pay them. It's not, there's very few times I feel like I go against Dana White, but this is one of those things. It's like, you got to pay these guys. Even, the gentleman who was fighting Ed Herman, what'd you say his name was? Meshert or something?
Meshert, yeah.
Meshert, like, he got COVID-19. He came to work. You can't prove that he didn't get it along the way showing up to your event during your process. You got to pay all of them. At least you have to pay them their show money, or just showing, the money that you would pay if he lost the fight. You have to pay him at least that, all of them.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
For sure.
It's like, these guys are training their ass off. They're risking, their health to put on a show and to help you, the UFC, make money. And it's not necessarily their fault that these things are happening. Yeah. Like, I get it. If the guy didn't make weight and he had to cancel the bout, don't pay that dude. Fuck that guy. But these were all medical situations. And the other, Kevin Holland, for instance, even said he would fight Ed Herman. The middleweight versus the light heavyweight. It's
I saw that.
You can't say that they weren't willing to work for you. They showed up and were down.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And then real quick, guys, we got Mike Perry back in the news again. He just came out real quick. He said he wants to apologize, and he promises basically to come back better than ever and in a better place. We'll see what happens, man. Sounds like he's.
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too. Sounds like he's going to be a dad now. Maybe that will turn him around a little bit.
Yeah.
But
He's an exciting fighter to watch. But one other thing we do have to talk about was the whole reffing consequence thing real fast. Dana White did come out and said,
sorry guys,
laid down a very firm ruling on you are not allowed to confront any judges, refs, and you cannot touch them, and if you do, you will no longer work for the UFC or ever be hired by the UFC. And those were some calls to specifically Dan Hardy, and also a fighter that pushed, I forget the referee's name, Mike Goddard. Yeah, in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
In a bout where he was choking the guy out. Mike tried to call it off, and they stood up and had a little confrontation.
Yeah, so it wasn't an actual, I mean, I know Dana White turned it into the incident that happened in the UFC, but I guess this is an incident that started outside the UFC that then, when a reporter asked him, transpired to what's happened in the UFC. We're talking about Hardy and Herb Dean. You know, yeah, and I didn't like that either. I mean, Herb Dean said, it's so quiet in there, he can hear everything. So the fact that Hardy called out and said, stop the fight, you know, like Herb said, there's only two people that should be able to stop the fight, the corner and the doctor. And himself. So there are three people. So, you know, yeah, I like that Dana White said that, honestly. I think it's real. I mean, a fighter shouldn't.
The judge, I hate to say it, the judges and the refs are basically they're like the police. You cannot yell at them and tell them what to do at the end of the day. They're in charge. They're being paid. And again, they work for the athletic commission of the state. They have the ultimate jurisdiction and ultimate authority on all of these things. So you as a commentator have no business telling them what to do. They go through all the training. Whether we agree with what the training is, that's a whole other discussion, but they get to make the call.
Exactly. So, yeah, without further ado now, I think.
Yeah, we'll just jump right into the fights that actually happened. Yeah. So the first fight of the main card that we did was LANDO VANNATA, 11-5-2. They were fighting in the lightweight division against Bobby Green, now a nice 26-10-1, who was a plus 125 underdog. And I think he actually bounced up to almost 140 by the time of the fight. Nick, you want to start it off?
Sure. I mean, you know, guys, I was high up on Lando, watching some footage of him. Ty, when we were breaking this one down together, was actually leaning more towards Bobby Green. Now we can see why. I mean, it was
close.
Yeah, it was a close fight. We ultimately ended up we wanted to go with Lando. We thought that was the safer pick. But, you know, it just was, poor Lando was getting outstriked. I mean, significant strikes, I think, were almost double too, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, and then the takedowns were just killing that dude. I mean, it was pretty crazy. You know, what did you kind of?
Yeah, no. Look, Lando came out great. He looked good in the first round. Dropped Bobby Green. Unfortunately, towards the end of the round, I think he also got rocked. I'm not sure if he dropped, but he got rocked. So it became a real close fight. But I did give him the first round. Bobby Green came out strong in the second, really took that round. And then by the third, he just really started working VANNATA. I think the damage started to accumulate. Bobby Green had a definite speed advantage. His straight punches, just pinpoint accuracy, great head movement, and then just proved in my mind just to be more athletic and just quicker than VANNATA. Sure. VANNATA was really just struggling to find him and land his shots. It's a good job for Bobby Green, man. He really showed that, you know, even at, I believe he's 36 years old or 33 years old, still got it, still in his prime. And I'd like to see him make another climb at the lightweight, you know, towards the top of the division.
We'll have to see if that happens.
Yeah,
I don't know about all that noise, but you know.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be champ. I'm not saying he's going to make it a champ, but I'd like to see him move up the rankings, maybe possibly get a fight in the top 5 one day, you know, before he goes out of his prime, but he's right there right now. He's still got a year or two left in his prime, and so there's still a lot of potential for the guy.
No, for sure. All right, next up.
Jumping in next, Vincent Luque. And I apologize for the LUQUE thing last time, but it's Vincent Luque. 19-7-1 now, coming in as the -180 favorite, fighting in the welterweight division against Randy Brown, now 12-4, who was a plus 155. I'm going to apologize just a little bit. Look, I'm not really sorry. This, to me, was a good pick stylistically. It seemed like the right call. But Luque came in with a great game plan, just chopping away at the legs. He managed to just do those calf kicks, really worked him, and it really threw Brown off his game. Like Dominic Cruz was saying, the jab was his best weapon, and when he was able to use it, it was working really well. He was really strong in the clinch. He did get a takedown in the second round, but he just took too long to adjust his game plan to what Luque was doing so well. And that was a really close knee, like a split second later, and that would have been illegal for sure.
Oh, yeah, and we would have been getting paid. I mean, as you guys know, we picked bad Randy Brown. And yeah, man. No, it was a good fight. I knew we were in trouble when those leg kicks started happening. Vincent here, I think in the first round, hit him with a leg kick, and it actually dropped Randy Brown. That's when I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of the second round.
He came in with a super good game plan, obviously, to go for the legs, and it made sense. I mean, Randy is a big, tall, he got, little chicken legs, honestly, and after watching the fight, and it showed. Now, yeah, I thought it was illegal. I jumped up cheering, thinking we had just won by disqualification, actually. I was super pumped. Then they're calling it Vincent. I'm like, what? No, I want to see replay. They showed the replay, and as we said, it was so close. And, that's a learning moment for Randy now, because as they were saying, he should have just dropped to his knees. He shouldn't have reached with his hands. He should have just dropped.
Dropped the knee, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent would have been able to hold that up. They asked Vincent after the fight, though, if he was purposely holding him up, and he didn't really act like that was his game plan. So that kind of told me that Vincent, too, got a little lucky there. He knew he was reaching for it, but he just went for it,
Yeah. Because he was fighting the hands, because Vincent was kind of going for an arm in guillotine or a headlock there, and so he was fighting the hands. And what I think actually happened was he must have seen that he was loading the leg up, like dropping it back farther to load up that knee, and saw it coming and just tried to drop his hand real fast, and it just wasn't quick enough.
Yeah. So that was bummers. He gets KO'd there by Randy Brown. We'll see if he can come back from that. We had based our pick on. We didn't really. Randy said he was going to test the chin. He never really got to get there. He did hurt him. He did hurt him at one point. It did look like he did stun him. I wouldn't say he rocked him, but he definitely stunned him. And it's something, guys, to kind of watch out with Luque here, is that his chin is deteriorating and it's becoming noticeable. It's not something like he eats shots. He doesn't mind walking into them, but it's going to catch up with him sooner rather than later. Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I was going to say. I think your picking on that is 100%, and I think that's something to watch for. If we get another, little odds where the guy he's fighting is a plus 200 or whatnot, I don't think it's going to be a bad pick to pick against him again. It's going to happen one of these days. He's going to get caught. It has to. 100%.
Yeah, just look for people with heavy hands or like elite level striking, and you got a shot. If they're the underdog and you're on the fence about it, take the plus money, because like we just said, Luque's cannot be a long career of just being able to eat these shots. The other thing I want to say is, like, how effective is that freaking calf kick? It is so ridiculous. I don't understand why everybody isn't doing it. It's like gold.
I know. Well, it's like you either have it or you don't. I'm just so intrigued to see like what guys are going to truly do to start trying to combat that, that don't have the ability to do the calf kick, possibly, but are getting calf kicked. I mean, not trying to go on a tangent here, but it seems like everyone's giving you the key to beating John Jones here. Yet no one's gone ahead and done it truly effectively. You know what I'm saying? I mean, John Jones got chicken legs. Ain't no doubt
you know who
about
I'd
it.
like to see if he rematches Thiago Santos. That would be a good like.
Oh yeah,
There is a guy with heavy hands, power kicks, and if he decided to do it, he could make it interesting. Maybe Dominic Reyes too, but like those would be the two guys.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
All right, guys. Next up,
Yep, the co-main event of the evening, the ladies fighting here in the flyweight division. Joanna Calderwood, 14-5 now, who was the minus 150 favorite, fighting Jennifer Maia, now 18-6-1, who was a plus 130 underdog. And Nick and I called it on the dot. Nick, you want to take it away?
you know, guys, this is where you made the bacon last night. These last two fight cards, yeah, we went wrong so far before this, but these were the two money makers that you were waiting for, and we found them in this whole pile here. I mean, happens time and time again. You see a fighter get overzealous, steps in because I want to fight. You were in line for a title shot. I mean, gotta feel for Calderwood here. Give her props for stepping in, but you know, everyone was mad at Brian Ortega when he didn't want to fight because he said he was in line, talking about what had just happened to Frankie. We all remember that. But hey, you know what? I think it's safe to say when you get a title shot, you sit back and wait for that shot. You don't risk something here.
Nick and Ty Media here, NT Media, who would be your manager, would be like this. You're not taking this fucking fight. You got a title fight coming up.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how much money they offer you.
Exactly.
What TV time.
And I mean, I think you hit on something earlier. It was, and then I kind of, we brought it up, and it might have really played into the truth here. You got, you know, this weight cutting thing is just brutal, and we see it time and time again. You know, it's just unfortunate. These guys aren't your body. If you can't step in a week before a fight, it just doesn't seem to make sense. It never seems to work out, honestly, unless you're already in somewhat fight weight. Now, we're never going to know that for real. Obviously, no fighter would ever release that information where they are weight-wise beforehand. But I got to say, as we are gamblers on this show, if you see that, you need to remember that in the back of your mind. Like, this person is going to be dropping X amount of weight in a week time. You know what I mean? And that's why that was really what influenced me here. If I, you know, to be honest with you guys, she stepped in, she had everything going for her. And then you got Maia, who was no sleeper. That was no sleeper. You know, I don't know how the odds were like that, honestly. I think they should have been a little closer, but I loved it. Well, I think she closed at like 140, I believe, is somewhere around there.
Yeah, she also went up. She also went up for sure. Yeah.
So you guys started slamming Calderwood because you thought it was such a great idea. No.
Yeah. If you guys listened to me, like I was telling you, the one thing, and even, you know, Dominic Cruz, Paul Felder, they were talking about it in the fight. Like I said, I specifically said just Calderwood, but they were saying Muay Thai fighters in general have an issue with minimal head movement. They stand very straight. They stand very forward stanced. And it's what I kind of see too, is like they throw a lot of straight punches, and people who have good head movement use more hooks, who have more variety in their strikes, with specifically with their heads, tend to give them problems. And it's exactly like what I said. When we watch Calderwood, she seems to have difficulty with good boxers. And that's exactly what Jennifer Maia was. She was lighting her up on the feet. Now, I didn't think she was going to be able to take Maia down, but I did say if it was going to happen, it was going to be from a kick, because I didn't see Maia possibly throwing any kicks, but it happened. But that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt came in handy. She wrapped up that armbar picture perfect. And like I told you guys, she was thick, and those thick-ass legs did the trick, no doubt about it. She cranked that armbar, no doubt.
Yeah. No, and I, you know, when the takedown happened, I kind of freaked out. But, I mean, it became very apparent that Maia was so much better on the ground than her within, like, a good 10 seconds, I would say. I mean, Maia looked comfortable.
Yeah, she was using that high guard. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Trapping the arms. That was really good.
Calderwood thought she was in a good position there for 5 seconds, and then I think quickly realized that was not where she wanted to be by any means, you know? So it was great. Yeah. Liked the arm bar. Loved it. That was a winner right there for you guys. I cashed in on it. Hope you guys did too. Awesome.
Yep. And if I'm just going to say now, next to this next fight, if you followed all of our picks, you'd be down about $115, I think it would have been right now. And this is where you made money on the juice. You rode the underdog, taking Derek Brunson here, who is now a nice 21-7 fighting in the middleweight division against EDMEN Shahbazyan, 11-1, who is a minus 315 favorite. And it's just like we said, man. Look, Derek Brunson just had all the tools, just was able to take, weather the first round, played it smart. He's really, like I said, matured as a fighter, took his time, and then, really brought it to him in that second and third round. And honestly, what I saw after the first minute of the second round, Shahbazyan was gassing. I could just see it on his face. His mouth was open. He's breathing from his mouth, and he just looked like someone who wasn't all there. I saw the last ditch effort was after he took that nut shot, took a little extra time, recovered for a minute, and then he just tried to blitz Brunson really quickly right after that, hit a real heavy body shot, and then after that he had nothing. He had no answers for anything Brunson was doing, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you saw through this one. I'm so glad you did. So much hype behind Shahbazyan. So much hype. You had Ronda Rousey calling out the fight a week beforehand, saying, this is the next champ. She's been throwing this kid around since he was 15. I mean, they even had video footage of Ronda fighting him in the pre-fight workouts, for one of her big cards, on the, like how they do the open workouts.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there. They had video footage of it. That's how long he's been in the game, honestly. So he was no stranger to this. Can't take that away from him. Now, yeah, experience over, this kid just took him by surprise. On top of that, as Ty called it, he had never really been tested. I mean, it only took 3 rounds to get this one done. I don't think he would have been able to go 5 rounds, honestly. I think a doctor finally would have stopped it eventually, honestly. I mean, this poor kid at the end of round 2 did not look like he wanted to continue on. Dana White actually even called the doctor out after the fight in his post-conference, saying that was an inexperienced doctor. I mean, this poor kid had his team not trying to call him off. I mean, you had Herb Dean even calling the doctor in before the start of the round to ask him again if he truly wants to continue on, because we could all see it on his face. He was getting worked. He knew it. I'm sure he really didn't want to continue on, but he also didn't want to be a bitch. So, it's a hard thing. I wouldn't have called him a bitch if he would have stopped, honestly. He was getting worked at that moment. Derek was all over him, hanging on him. I mean, getting him tired, and it fell right into Brunson's game plan, obviously. And it was a beautiful win.
Yeah. Guys, you just got to – look, I get it. EDMEN has a lot of potential. He could be somebody. But when we see these things where you're watching a young, up-and-coming guy taking on a proven veteran, and you just got to look at those odds, really take it in, because especially when these kids have all these first-round finishes – if you think this guy can drag him into the later rounds, those are usually good bets to make. It's like, and also EDMEN, the only guy he'd beaten was Brad Tavares, was the only name.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you guys said, damn, Brad Tavares is one of the best in the business?
Exactly.
Can't remember. I don't even think I ever said about it.
I don't think so either.
And he's from Hawaii, and we like the guy. Yeah. Hey, we're just happy we made you some money. Hopefully, you took the picks that we picked. And, yeah, it was a fun card to watch.
Yeah, it was a great card to watch, guys. It was a short one, obviously, with only 4 fights. This was one of those odd ones, though, where you should have just picked every underdog you would have hit. It doesn't happen like that every day, obviously, or we'd all be rich people. But, it is what it was. We love the fights. Glad we could be there for you guys. Seeing through the fog to give you the true pick that the UFC likes to put on us. We're ready, though. We're locked, clocked, ready for next week. Once again, we'll be back with you guys on Wednesday. We got Lewis versus Olenek. Can't wait for that one too.
Yep. Omari Akhmedov versus Chris Weidman, the GOAT killer.
Yep. No, we got some names again back on this card that everyone's a little more familiar with. So I think this next one, we'll have a little bit more hype behind it, and then especially the fact that then that will be the final Saturday before the real deal. But we'll talk about
so
that
remember,
a little later.
Like and comment, guys. Get that shirt so you can wear it at your UFC party. You know, look. This is going to be Daniel Cormier's last fight of his career before he rides off in the sunset, and we're going to find out if he rides off as the baddest dude on the planet or just an old man.
Or just honestly, no matter what, he was the baddest. He was one of the baddest dudes on the planet. He can't take that away from him.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it's a lose-lose situation for him, but it will be a personal loss for him. Hopefully, we get to see him cry again. That would be great to see that in his last moments in the UFC. I hope that happens.
I think he'll cry either way, bro. I think he's going to cry either way. If he wins, he cries. He'll be so happy. He loses, he'll cry. But look, I'm just real happy that, this Olympian came in the sport. He's really contributed so much, a lot more than a lot of other fighters have. And the fact that, he's this amazing commentator on top of it. But enough is enough about that.
All right, guys. So as we said, like, comment, subscribe if you want to be entered in for a free t-shirt. We'll be announcing the winner soon, obviously, as we're getting weeks away. We only got I think 7 or what? When did we say you were announcing on the 10th?
The 10th,
day, right?
So you got about 8 days.
You got 8 days left to get in on this. Please subscribe. That's what we need.
I think that's just you're gonna get, including this show. You got 3 more chances to enter in.
Exactly. All right, guys. Peace out. We'll be back Wednesday.